the printer, just press and hold the power button till the green light comes on. Printer's going to ask you a couple questions. What language we'd like to use. We're going to use English. Going to go ahead and set the date and time. Hit OK to proceed. What unit of length would you like to use? Here in the United States, we're going to use feet and inches. We also choose to use Celsius, so we're going to hit OK. The printer is then going to ask us to install our cleaning cartridges. To install the cleaning cartridges, pull the levers all the way up. All 4 cleaning cartridges can be installed into the printer in any slot. Simply slide it in with the chip facing up. Make sure it's seated completely. And push the levers down. The printer will then ask you to make sure you have everything you're ready. Hit OK. Press OK. The cleaning should take about 10 minutes. It's nice to stand by to just wait for the control panel to tell you what to do. The printer's now done with its cleaning. We're going to go ahead and remove the 4 cleaning cartridges, just as the control panel is telling us to do. Leave the cartridge bay empty and put the levers down, and this will allow the printer to begin draining. It's going to ask us to hit OK, and it will start. The printer's done with the draining now. It's asking us to install the ink cartridges. So we're going to go ahead and put them in. Just go ahead and make sure you put them into the right slot. I also like to give them a shake for a few seconds just before I put them in. Always install them with the chip aiming up. Once they're in, go ahead and move the levers down. The printer's asking you to hit OK to start the initialization process. And there we go. Well, the printer's done with the initialization, so we're going to move on to the next step and show you how to load media and do a nozzle check. Two things you have to do first is make sure that you removed the media guides from the front of the printer and release the paper lever. Make sure the left guide is loose and the left edge of the media is lined up with our sensor. Then we're going to use the Epson Lift Assist to lift the media into place and slide the left edge guide into place and lock it down. Next, we're going to do the same thing with the other side. Use the Lift Assist, push the media into place, lock the right guide down, and push until the purple part goes inside the collar. Now we're going to go ahead and pull some media out and feed it into the printer. You want to make sure there's a little bit of our black guide visible. Now I always like to feed a little bit extra media and use the motor to wind it back. This will make sure the media doesn't skew. Once we're done with this, we come up here and lock down the media lever. We're going to go around the front and install our edge guides. The media edge guide should never be used on media thicker than 0.4 millimeters. To install, simply put into place and press on the white dot. If necessary, you can slide them to adjust. It is recommended that you always use the media edge guides. When you attach the media edge guides, have them fall over the media, but only slightly so that you see a half moon in each one of the cutouts. This will allow the media to expand and contract and prevent head strikes. After you've finished initializing the printer, it's always best to do a nozzle check to be sure all the nozzles are firing correctly. Do this by going to the Maintenance menu, selecting OK over Nozzle Check, and hitting OK to begin printing a nozzle check. Once the pattern is printed, be sure to check all the nozzles are firing correctly. If you've chosen to install the heavy-duty take-up system, or your printer came with the heavy-duty take-up system, you want to go ahead and remove these struts before you install that. You don't have to remove the screws completely, you just need to loosen them using the wrench provided. Once you've loosened all 4 bolts, we will pull up and set this aside. It might be nice to just go ahead and tighten these screws back down. You're not going to use them, but you may want to save them for later. You got to do it to both the left and the right side of the back of the printer. With these supports removed, we're ready to install the brackets that will support the heavy-duty take-up system. Remember, when you're facing the back of the printer, the square box goes on the right-hand side and the triangle one goes on the left. The heavy-duty take-up system goes on just like the regular one, except it attaches to the base of the stand. You want to make sure with this that the switch is on this side of the printer, the left side of the printer, or the side where the control panel and the inks are. We're going to go ahead and attach some bolts to it as well. Remember, you just want to finger tighten these bolts until we're finished with the adjustment patterns. For the heavy-duty take-up system, you want to make sure you connect the communication cable to it as well. Now we're going to show you how to install the optional print dryer. On the S30, this is an option and should only be used if you live in an area of high humidity or your prints aren't drying down. Let's go ahead and get started. The optional dryer will come in a box just like this. First thing you want to do is cut open the tape. Now that the box is open, you're going to notice there's a box here with a power cable, some bolts, and some of the hardware. The first thing we're going to want to do is attach these to the side of the printer. There are 2 guides that support the optional print dryer, one that goes on the left and one that goes on the right. The one that goes on the right has the cable support. It's attached simply by lining up the 2 holes here with the 2 holes on the edge of the heater. Now we're going to install the optional print dryer onto the supports that we put on the printer. It's always good to have someone to help you hold it in place so it doesn't fall. Just remove it from the packaging and remove all the plastic. Okay. We'll go ahead and hold it into place. And using the 2 remaining screws, put a screw from underneath. Make sure it's secure with the wrench. As you can see on the right side, there's a communication cable. That gets wired here through this cable support to the back of the printer. But it's also helpful at the same time to wire in the power cable, which gets plugged in on the right side as well. Next, you're going to want to wire the communication cable from the optional print dryer into the printer, like so. This will allow the printer to tell the print dryer when to turn on and off. You're going to want to wire this into a separate power source just so you don't overload the circuit. Once the optional print dryer is installed, you'll notice that an icon on the control panel comes up indicating that it is connected. And we're done. We've showed you how to set up the SureColor S30 from beginning to end. For more information or details on anything we've talked about today, please take a look at your user guide or go to proimaging.epson.com.